Detective Aaron Briggs leaned back in his chair with the smugness of a man who thought he'd seen it all. He'd worked this beat for over 15 years, through gang busts, burglaries, domestic disturbances, and countless petty thefts. To him, this was just another day, another teenage punk trying to dodge responsibility. Across from him sat a nervous 16-year-old boy, Malik Carter. Briggs didn't even try to hide his amusement as Malik fumbled through his explanation. "You expect me to believe that?" Briggs laughed, shaking his head. "You seriously want me to write down that someone else in the same exact hoodie just happened to be at that store at that exact time, and it wasn't you?" Malik's mouth opened, but no words came.
"Right," Briggs said, scribbling something in his notepad. "Another file for the stack."
But 10 minutes later, when the security footage played back, Briggs's smug grin faded into something else entirely. The interrogation room at Southbridge Police Station was utilitarian and sterile. Bare walls, no windows, fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. A metal table sat at the center, with 2 uncomfortable chairs on either side. Malik Carter sat with his hands in his lap, his right leg bouncing uncontrollably. His hoodie, a navy blue Champions sweatshirt, was the same one he'd been wearing when they arrested him just an hour ago. The same hoodie the outlet store manager had pointed to in a grainy, still image. Outside, in the waiting room, his mother, Denise Carter, paced back and forth. She'd been waiting for over 40 minutes, her eyes red from frustration and worry, her fingers raw from biting her nails. She had begged the desk sergeant to let her speak to someone, to let her see her son. All she'd gotten was a tired shrug. Briggs, meanwhile, was already convinced. In his mind, this wasn't about facts. It was about instinct, and his instinct told him Malik was guilty. "So here's what we know," Briggs said, pacing the room like a lion circling its prey. "You were seen leaving the outlet store with merchandise you didn't pay for. That hoodie you're wearing? Exact match to the one reported stolen."
Malik cleared his throat. "Sir, I swear I didn't steal anything."
Briggs narrowed his eyes. "You work at the smoothie stand in that same plaza, right?" Malik nodded. "Yeah, almost 6 months now." "Funny, because the store manager says he's seen you lurking before, hanging around, acting suspicious." "I go there on my break," Malik said. "Sometimes I get snacks, that's all." Briggs slapped a piece of paper onto the table, a blurry screenshot from the surveillance footage. It showed a tall, slim figure in a hoodie walking out of the store. "That's you, isn't it?" Malik studied the photo. It did look like him, but he knew it wasn't. "No," he said. "That's not me." Briggs leaned down, placing both palms on the table, his voice lowered. "You lying to me, boy?" Malik looked down. "No, sir." "You know what happens when you lie to a cop?" Briggs growled. "You make things worse for yourself. You dig the hole deeper." Malik said nothing. Behind the one-way mirror, 2 officers observed quietly. One, Officer Lynn, furrowed her brow but stayed silent. In the lobby, Denise was growing more frantic. She pulled out her phone, started dialing numbers. She called Malik's older brother, Marcus, a college sophomore, then her pastor, then the store manager, who didn't pick up. Tears filled her eyes. "My son's not a thief," she whispered to no one.
Back in the room, Briggs straightened up.
"You know what the DA sees when he looks at this? A hoodie, a timestamp, and a face that fits the profile. That's all he needs." Just as Briggs reached for the charge sheet, a knock came at the door. It was Officer Lynn. "We got the full footage from the store's camera system." Briggs waved her in. "Let's wrap this up." The room went dim as Lynn connected a tablet to the wall monitor. The footage began to play. The suspect entered the store, looked around, grabbed a hoodie, and walked right out. Same building, same style, same nonchalant pace. But then, The camera caught the suspect walking past a display with a mirror. A pause. Briggs leaned in. Lynn zoomed in on the reflection. The suspect was white. Not just light-skinned. White, pale skin, sandy hair, blue eyes. Briggs blinked. "You see it?" Lynn asked. He nodded slowly. Briggs turned to Malik, who was now sitting straighter, no longer shrinking in his chair, no longer silent. He looked directly at Briggs. "I told you it wasn't me." There was no gloating in his voice, just exhaustion. Briggs opened his mouth, then closed it again. He picked up the photo and turned it over. Lynn cleared her throat. "Also, Store says they didn't actually report the theft. It was a mall cop. He forwarded the footage and assumed the suspect matched Malik based on, well, the hoodie." Briggs rubbed his temples. He looked older all of a sudden. 10 minutes later, Malik stepped out into the waiting area. His mother looked up, eyes wide. He gave her a slight shake of the head. "It wasn't me." "She didn't need more." She rushed to him, arms wrapping around his small frame, tears spilling down her cheeks. Behind them, Officer Lynn watched silently. In the distance, Briggs stood just outside the captain's office, staring out the window. He didn't apologize. He didn't say a word, but something in his face had changed. The certainty was gone. The story hit local news within 48 hours, not because Malik sued, not because someone raised hell on social media, but because an internal report flagged the incident for review. A detective had prepared to charge a minor based on race and assumptions without reviewing the full footage. The mall cop who had recognized Malik had once flagged 3 other young black teens who were later cleared. But there was never any consequence. The outlet store never filed a complaint. They later admitted their cameras had blind spots. What made the case stand out wasn't the hoodie. It was the fact that even when Malik explained himself clearly, no one believed him. Because he fit the profile, Malik returned to his job at the smoothie stand the following week. His co-workers welcomed him back, but something had shifted. He didn't joke as much. He avoided eye contact with the mall cops. People who knew him saw the change. That lightness, that casual confidence most kids had, it was gone. He'd learned that all it took was one assumption, one look. Detective Briggs didn't file charges, but he did enroll in an internal bias training program. Not because he volunteered, because his captain insisted. Even so, something had changed. He started looking twice, listening longer, asking more questions. Sometimes justice isn't a gavel, and sometimes it's a mirror. And sometimes the reflection it gives back is hard to accept, but necessary. Because justice isn't just about what we see, it's about what we're willing to admit we missed. And sometimes the kid you thought was lying is the only one telling the truth.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on the post notifications so you never miss a drop.